neighborhood began to annoy me. Every afternoon, Warren came to pick me up from work on his old motorbike. My coworkers watched me as I climbed onto that motorbike. They drove BMWs and Audis. I rode home on what I believed was a symbol of failure. Warren always greeted me with a smile. He said, "How was your day, Luciana?" But I did not answer kindly. Sometimes I simply nodded. Other times I complained about work or stayed silent. One evening, a rich client named Mr. Milton saw Warren waiting outside. He looked at the motorbike and laughed. My cheeks burned with shame. On the ride home that day, I did not speak at all. I thought, I deserve better than this. The next morning, I finally said what had been growing inside me for months. I told Warren that I needed a big car. Warren listened carefully. He checked our bank account numbers. He said, "Right now money is tight. Maybe we should wait." His answer made me angry. I told him he was happy with an average life, while I worked hard every day to make our lives better. Warren felt hurt. He did not argue. The next morning, he touched my shoulder before leaving for school. Warren said, "I will try to make things better." I thought he would try to get a better job. For the first time in weeks, I felt hopeful. That same afternoon, Mr. Milton gave me expensive flowers. He said, "A successful woman like you should live beautifully." His words stayed in my mind. I compared my husband to men like him and felt unhappy. That night, Warren came home very late. His shirt was dusty, and he looked very tired. I felt angry. I threw away the dinner I had prepared. Warren stood quietly, staring at the trash bin. I noticed his hands were shaking, but I ignored it. Without eating, he said he had more work to finish and left again on the motorbike. I thought he returned to school. I never imagined the truth. Days passed. Warren continued coming home late, often looking tired and pale. I stayed focused only on my own goals. I did not notice how little Warren slept or how thin he was becoming. Then came the night that changed everything. One evening, a strong storm hit the city. I was sitting inside a big car to finalize a property sale. Then, I saw a man pushing a motorbike in the heavy rain. When I saw his face, I froze. It was Warren. Behind the motorbike was a large delivery box. My husband was working as a delivery driver at night. Warren was not staying late at school. He had been working a second job every evening. I realized he had not been lazy. He had been sacrificing himself quietly to fulfill my wishes. "Stop the car!" I shouted before thinking. I ran into the rain, and my clothes quickly became wet. Warren tried to start the motorbike, but he was shaking from the cold. When he saw me, he said, "Luciana, you'll get sick." Even then, he worried about me instead of himself. He tried to hide the delivery box. Warren said he was saving money for a car so I could feel proud arriving at work. My heart broke. I saw clearly how cruel I had been. The motorbike I hated was carrying the weight of his love. I hugged Warren tightly. I realized that I had been ignoring the person who truly cared for me. When his wallet fell into a puddle, I picked it up and found many payment receipts. On one paper, he had written, "For Luciana's happiness." Tears filled my eyes. We returned home quietly. Warren got a high fever from the cold rain. Throughout the night, I stayed beside him, holding his hand. I realized I had spent my days helping strangers find homes while destroying my own marriage. The next morning, I apologized. I told Warren I no longer wanted luxury or status. What I wanted was him, healthy, safe, and happy. But saying sorry was not enough. I needed to act. Over the next weeks, I saved the money I earned instead of spending it on myself. With that money, I bought Warren a new motorbike. When I gave him the keys, he looked surprised. I told him he deserved to rest after teaching, not keep sacrificing for my selfish wishes. It felt like the beginning of a new marriage. 3 months later, life became peaceful. I still worked at the real estate agency and continued selling big homes. But my perspective changed completely. Wealth no longer impressed me. Each afternoon, I waited near my office window. When I heard the familiar sound of Warren's motorbike, my heart filled with warmth instead of shame. It reminded me that love was waiting for me outside. I understood that happiness does not come from comparison. It comes from being thankful. A big house can make life comfortable, but it cannot replace true love. I realized I was never really angry about Warren's income or our apartment. I was unhappy because I kept comparing my life to other people's lives. Warren had always been rich in the things that mattered most: kindness, loyalty, and sacrifice. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.